computer. You don't see that. Hello, I'm Huey Poplock. This is the Central Florida Computer Society and the Windows Special Interest Group known as the WinSIG. Today is Sunday, October 14th, 2018, and welcome. Welcome to those people who are online. Welcome to those who are at the CFCS meeting in Castleberry at the library in the Orlando, Florida area. There are people from out of town online, and there are some of the local people as well. I'm looking at some of the messages. Okay, good. We're good. And I'm good. Today we're going to be talking, oops, let's see, let's get to the right screen here. We're going to be talking about the Windows 10 update from known as the 1809 version, which means it's a 2018 and the 9th month, and it always comes out a month later, so it's the October 2018 update. As you may or may not know, they did release it publicly. They didn't push it out to anybody, but they did release it where you could go and download it. And I was, excuse me, I went and downloaded it to my computer. And then I started reading about some issues that people were having. And mostly those issues had to do with people losing files from their computer. So Microsoft at first said it was just a minor problem, but there were apparently enough people with the problem, they went ahead and pulled the update. So I never did get to update my Surface 3, which is my portable or laptop version. This is a desktop that I have, so there were a couple of things I couldn't really check out. They have figured out what the problem was. It had to do with you have the ability to, by default, the Documents folder and the Downloads folder are on your C drive under your username. You can change that. I have done that to give more room on my C drive because I don't have a lot of room. I don't have as much on my C drive as I do on my D drive on either of my computers. And so what I have done is I changed the default to my D drive. Well, if you did that but never made the change and kept a C drive downloads and a C drive documents folder, but had changed the default to, or made some adjustments in them, you would have both. And when it installed, it said, oh, you have the Windows 10 and you've got some things in the documents and downloads that you don't really need, and we're just going to delete them. And they did. And in some cases, that was where some people had stored years and years of updates and files and so on. And so they've fixed the problem now, and hopefully, I believe it's been re-released, and it'll start getting pushed very shortly. So what's going to be in this new update? Okay, I talked about the society. Oops, why am I? Let me get here. There we go. Okay, I'm going the wrong direction. That's what was going on. These are mostly the items that I'm going to cover. I've added a couple of things to it, but dark themes for File Explorer, Fluent Design, your phone app, Timeline for phone, Microsoft Edge and some of the updates there, search, gaming, Windows Mixed Reality, Emojis, SwiftKey, Cloud Clipboard, Snip and Sketch, renaming, startup folders, accessibility, and Windows security. So let's get started. Let's talk about the dark theme for File Explorer. Let's see, I need to make a few changes in a few windows that I have. And I'm going to move the chat a little bit out of the way here. Okay, so what are we talking about? This is what Windows Explorer normally looks like, or has been looking like, or if you may have it set up a little bit different, but you'll see the difference. If and now in the 1809, you can go in and make some changes. You can turn the high contrast on or off. You can change it. You'll see where it says under choose a theme, high contrast black. Some people, for some reason or another, I don't personally like it, but some like to have a black theme as opposed to what was been a standard theme. And this is what that would look like. I don't like that, although it is nice and clear and crisp on my screen right now, but I don't think it is as clear in presentations as it is on the screen normally. These are what it looks like, the same thing side by side. It's a preference that you need to make. If you want the dark theme, you can change it so all of your windows will be, at least the Windows Explorer will be dark, but if you have it, you can even change it where most of your windows are the black background with the light colors on top of it. Fluent design is something that they've been touting. It really has to do with what people design with for Windows. So I'm not really going to talk much about it because I really couldn't find out what they were talking about. But they are saying that it's now the look and feel of Windows is going to be better. And this is what the window was that one of the articles had in it. The screen capture they used to show this. So I guess that's called Fluent design. Now, one of the big things that's been added to Windows 10, the 1809 version, is your phone app. You now can do some things with your phone on your desktop that you haven't been able to do before. It works with both iOS and it works with Android. I believe the Android has been done first. I'm not sure if the iOS is ready to go out the door yet. But since I have an Android phone, I'm able to show you this. Your phone app. First, I have to set it up on my PC. And what you do is you download or you go to the Microsoft Store, and it's free. You get the app that's called Your Phone. And when you do that and you click on it, it says, okay, you can send texts and see recent photos from your Android phone right on your PC. Let's get started, and I click the blue button. You sign in with your Microsoft account, and I did that. And then it says link your phone and PC, and you have to put your phone number in for your Android phone. Once you do that, it wants to check your phone. It knows what your phone is once you've done that. And what we're going to do is we're going to be connecting our photos and messages, as I said. And they need your permission to connect to the connect and access data on your phone. Please check your phone and tap allow. And when I click notification, a notification was sent to my Android phone. So on my Android phone, it looks like this. I got a message. And there's a link there. It says install this app and sign in to link your phone and PC. So I went ahead and did that. This is my messages on my phone. And so in Google Play, on the left, it shows your phone companion. And notice it's from the Microsoft Corporation. It is free, so you click install. Once it's installed, on the right, you see that you have the choice to open it. And when you open it, you get these are three different screens, but first one is sign in with Microsoft, finish linking your phone. And so you sign in with Microsoft. You're currently signed in with your account, and it shows my account. And it says continue. And it says next app permission, continue. And there's 4 things that you have to allow. You have to allow your phone companion to access your photos, media, and files on your device. Allow your phone companion to send and view SMS messages. Allow your phone companion to make and manage phone calls, and allow your phone companion to access your contacts. Once you have allowed all of those, it comes up and says you're all set. Check the phone app on your PC to see the most recent photos and send text messages. And it also says your phone and PC are linked. If you uninstall this app, you might need to link your phone and PC again. So on my PC, now I'm saying on the left, it's connected to my Samsung. These are my recent photos. They were screen captures that I just had, and I just showed you in the presentation. So that's what you're seeing there, is you're seeing my latest photos. But as I add more photos, taking pictures with my camera and so on, I'll be able to see them directly on my PC and actually save them out to a folder if I want it. On the right is my messages. So one of the things that you haven't been able to do is read and get your messages on your PC and send them. And now you're going to be able to. So that's a big deal for a lot of people who like to, when they're on the road, use their messages, but they're not using their phone when they're sitting at their desk. And this way they can have the connection right there. Another thing, connecting your phone is the timeline for phone. I found this quite useless, to be honest with you. I didn't quite understand what they were trying to do. And once I got in it and started playing with it a little bit, I decided I am not going to be using this. Your timeline, another feature that mobile users will find handy, it's making it easier to gain access to what you're working on. Now this feature is available on your phone, meaning you can scroll back in time and pick up where you left off while working on files and browsing websites. It's also possible to share or remove activities from a specific day or hour. The timeline is what it looks like this on your PC. You probably aren't even using it. It was new in the 1803 version of Windows. This was a screen capture from one of the articles I was reading, so I thought I'd add that because they do have some of their other screen captures as well. And this is what it looks like on the phone. And I didn't quite get the same thing on my phone, but it actually took over my phone, and I didn't like it, so I uninstalled it, and so I'm not going to be using it on my phone. Might be something that you like and you want, but it's not something I want. Lots of updates in Microsoft Edge. Microsoft Edge is the browser, the way you get to the internet and look at your websites and so on, is Microsoft Edge. I use as a default Chrome. The reason I use Chrome is because I do use my Chromebook a lot, and when I make change in the settings on my PC, it changes them on my Chromebook and vice versa. So I'm able to utilize that much neater, but there's some really good things coming with Edge. Edge is starting to become a pretty good browser. And let's look at what they were talking, some of the things they've updated. Okay, the latest version of Edge focuses on improving reading, but also pays due attention to the look and feel of the user interface. It offers a bit more customization. You can read PDFs in the browser now, and they say it's a more pleasant experience. And there's several changes under the hood to improve the technology. And also, Edge now comes with Microsoft Learning Tools baked in the browser and offers support for themes, an offline dictionary that serves up definitions of highlighted words. You also get access to the grammar tools, and I couldn't find the grammar tools in the learning tools. I found them today, so I've got a couple of slides that'll show what that's all about. So let's move on to what's good in Edge. Here's Edge. I've logged on to my website, and I've gone to the menu on the top right, which is the 3 dots, and it brings down the list of items in the menu. And under More Tools, it says you can add notes, share this page, cast media to a device. There are some ways now that you can just cast things from your computer right to a TV, for instance. You can open with Internet Explorer. If something needs Internet Explorer, you can do that. You can pin the page to start, and then there's some developer tools. If you're going to work with pages, you can do some editing, and you can do some fit to page, do a page view. You can read it aloud, and you can mark it up as so there's some things that you can do with it. Okay, here's a page from the APCUG website. I've got the word opportunities highlighted. I right mouse clicked and see where it says Ask Cortana about opportunities. When I right clicked it, or when I went ahead and clicked it, the Cortana, it gives me the word broken down into syllables. It gives it, so how you pronounce it, you can say it by clicking on the little speaker. It gives you the, oh, hang on, I got to clear my throat here for a moment. It shows you that it's a noun and gives you some definitions of the word. And then there's some more information further down. This is nice. You can do this with any word as you're looking through on a website. It gives you some added information. Now, something else you can do if as you hit the buttons, the 3 buttons over on the side, and you get the menu under where it says Show in Toolbar. It gives you a list of several things. I've got 3 things checked on mine, but if I wanted to have more, I could click on the other things, and they would show up at the toolbar at the top. So the favorites is a button you can have or not have. Your reading list, your books, your history, your downloads, your add notes, and share the page. Now, there's some other things that you can do. There are some settings that you can have for your browser, for the Edge browser. Obviously, you can turn Flash on, use it or not use it. Some people recommend you can turn it off. You should have it off, and you can turn it off. And the media autoplay is something that is allowed by default on a lot of websites and previously. Now you can change that. You can say when you can decide whether the web video should play automatically, and you can do that by that drop down saying allow, limit, or block them. I'm looking at my notes to the side here, and I see that Mike said, just turned on my Windows notebook, which has been off for at least a month. Update 2018-09 is now downloading. So it is pushing again. Or I should say it is pushing it out. Now, you'll notice next to the address bar in Edge, there is a little icon that if it's that icon, when you click on it, it'll give you some information. MyHuey.net has GoDaddy Class C2 certification authority, has identified this site as Huey.net. Your connection to this server is encrypted because it's an HTTPS. And then you can, so that gives you some information, then you can change the website permissions from there as well. So if you see that lock, you can see where the certificate comes from and whether you want to trust the site or not. Another thing under downloads, you get a list of the downloads. You can clear them. You can copy the link to them. You can even report this as unsafe. Okay, you'll also find it in a new version of the learning tools for Microsoft Edge available for books in the reading view, which now lets you choose from a variety of new page themes. So you got the grammar tools, and you got the and that's in the reading preference tabs. I tried to figure out what this all meant, and it didn't make any sense to me. And this morning, I don't know, something snapped in my head, and I kind of started looking around, and I finally figured out what it meant. If you go into the reading view, and that's it looks like a little book, what you end up with is it strips out the menus and it strips out a lot of junk on a web page and just gives you a reading view of the content of that page. Well, what you can do there is you can click on the learning tools. You can actually have it read aloud, and then there's also some text options to make it look clearer. But if you click on the learning tools, you got the choice of syllables, parts of speech, nouns, verbs, and adjectives, and it will show those, and it'll show them in different colors. You can change them, but what it means is it's going to look like this. Now, I did it really, there's not a lot to this, so having 5 slides, I just stuck them all on 5 slides, but you can see on the last slide, the bottom right, everything's turned on. So everything's in different colors, and they're color coded for each one. Red being nouns, green being adjectives, and blue being syllables. Blue being adjectives. So no, let's see, am I wrong here? Anyway, there are different colors for each one. And so it's kind of a neat thing. You probably will never use it, but if you need it, it's there. Now, something else in Edge that it will do now is you can bring up a PDF file in Edge, whether it be on a website or just on your hard drive. You can bring it up in Edge, and you can do some things with it. And you get a menu. And I've circled what that menu is. You can fit it to page. You can make it a page view. You can have it read to you. And you can add notes to it. You can print it. You can save it. And you can do a save as well. If you read it, have it read aloud to you, as it's going across the words, each word is highlighted. The word celebration was the one it was reading when I did the screen capture. When it goes to the next phrase or words, it maybe is located, will be in white, and everything else will be in gray. So it will read it to you, which is kind of neat. And it's pretty clear. And you can mark it up, and there's the markup. You can use a pen, you can use a highlighter, you can change the color. You'll notice that the pen is in blue. Well, you can change that to red or black or whatever color you want. Same with the highlighting. It can be in yellow by default, but it can be others. And then the third one over from the left is an eraser. And so that you're able to go in and mark up the pages and save it with the markups still as a PDF. Okay, another new change, another new addition to Windows 1809 is the search. If you'll remember, you always would go down to the search box, which is the Cortana box. on the bottom left-hand side of your screen, and you type there to start searching. As soon as you click in there, you'll get this box pop up. You can then say, do you want to search in apps, settings, documents, photos, or web? Then you can pick up where you left off. You can open the timeline, and then there's also some of the last searches you did and what you found. So let's go ahead, and we're going to type. I'm going to type in something, and I'm going to look at it. I'm looking for a document. Actually, I'm looking for either a PNG or a GIF or a JPEG file in particular, and I'm going to start typing to search for documents. The document I'm looking for, I know has my initials in it, HCP. When I type in HCP, it starts populating in the list. And so I didn't get it as it populated, but I got it after it filled in because it was quite fast, and it filled it all in. And I found several documents, but I did find at the top is a PSD file, and when I went to that folder, there were JPEGs and PNG files in that folder. So I was able to get that and find the file that I was looking for quite quickly. And it was in a document name. It was on my computer. You use the same search box if you're searching on the web. Under gaming, there were some updates in gaming that I don't know a thing about. So I just captured some items and wrote them in, did some screen, grabbed some graphics from some articles, and if you're into gaming, you'll have to do some more research on your own. But DirectX ray tracing is now fully supported on the platform. That doesn't mean a hill of beans to me. I will never use it. I don't need to, so I didn't bother learning anything about it. But this is with it on, with it off. The game bar is now a dedicated app. So if you're into gaming, you might have had a game bar, and you can bring that up and make adjustments. These are some of the settings for the game bar. And this is what a game bar looks like over the game that you're in. So it's a way of making some settings for various games that you might be playing on your PC. And again, this is what the what it looks like. Windows Mixed Reality, another thing I don't use. That means using one of the headsets and then either putting your phone in it, or maybe it's a dedicated headset. But you can now stream audio to both the headset and the computer speaker simultaneously. Apparently you couldn't before. In the mixed reality experience, when using an immersive application, pressing the Windows key or using bloom gestures, quick actions allow user to easily go home, view the time, or launch mixed reality capture tools. But you'll also find a flashlight feature. And what flashlight feature means is when you got one of these headsets on, you're seeing what's in front of you, but you're seeing not reality, but you're seeing the virtual reality. So what the flashlight feature does, it gives you what's actually in the room as well. And so it will look like this. Again, this is not something I'm using, and I probably never will. But it might be something you have interest in, so I wanted to make sure I included it in this presentation. Something else that got updated are emojis. Do you use emojis? I don't use them much, but some people do, and they got a whole bunch of new ones in the Windows. So if you got an iPhone, the latest version of iPhone has hang on a second. Oops. The latest version of iPhone has a whole bunch of new emojis, and now Windows has a bunch of new emojis, and they fixed some they had. You'll see. Why there has to be a big difference and why this is a major thing, I have no idea. But if you're into these, at least you want them to look like what you want, and so they've improved some of the emojis that are out there. SwiftKey. SwiftKey has to do with the virtual keyboard. If you have a touch screen, you'll have a virtual keyboard, and I do on even my desktop is a virtual. I have a desktop. I'm sorry, I have the ability. It's a touch screen, so I have the ability to use a touch typewriter or use the full keyboard that I have from Logitech sitting on my desk. As soon as you start typing, similar to what your phones are, I typed in TH and it gave me a whole bunch of words that I could just click on, and it's a fast completion. This wasn't there before. Now, there are some settings that you can turn on as well. Under typing, you can autocorrect misspelled words as on my computer. I highlighted misspelled words I have turned on. And then also in typing, show text suggestions as I type on the software keyboard. That's what I just showed you. Add a space after I choose a text suggestion, and I've got that turned on. And add a period after I double tap the space bar, and that's turned on. Now there's some more choices as you go down here, and I know this is small because it's a long list of things, but you'll notice about 3/4 down the list it does say hardware keyboard, and if you can't read that, it says show text suggestion as I type. So even though you have you don't have a touch screen and don't have the virtual keyboard, you can still have that ability of turning on text suggestions for your hardware keyboard as well. I find it handy sometimes, and sometimes it just gets in the way. The cloud clipboard. Now, since the early 2000s, I've been using a clipboard program, which hasn't been updated in probably 5 or 6 years. And I turned it off in order to play with this cloud clipboard. I probably will go back to using the one I have because it does some things I'm just used to using. But there's some neat things if you aren't using any kind of a clipboard program. If you're aware what clipboard is, that when you copy something, it puts it in a clipboard. It saves one thing, and when you paste it, it's there, and you can keep pasting it as many times as you want. But as soon as you clip something else, that first one goes away. It's gone. Well, now you have a cloud clipboard, and if you turn it on, and you can turn on with and save your cloud clipboard history, and actually you can even sync it across devices. But what it allows you to do now is to save your clips, or at least capture them in a list. And if you want to see them, if you hit your Windows and the V key, not Control V, but Windows V, what it will do is, first of all, you turn on the clipboard history, and that's what this slide, here's it off, and then I turned it on. And that's what it looks like. And when you hit Windows V, this is what happens. It happens to it over on the right part of the screen. And I'll show you. I'm going to do a Windows V, and you'll see that it comes up on the right-hand side of my screen. Let's see. I'm just going to, when I click anywhere else, it goes away. Now, there's a couple of things about it that you need to know. One is it'll keep saving them, and you can scroll down and you can see many of them. Well, you're going to get a lot of them because you do a lot of cut and pasting. You probably do a lot of clipping, and you can delete them. You can delete each one separately with the X. And so if there's one that you clipped and you don't want to leave it in there, you don't want to have it in there, or it was a mistake, or you just don't want it saved for posterity, you can just hit the X and it will delete that particular one. But you can also, if you'll notice at the top right, it says clear all. You can clear them all, but there may be some you want, and you don't want to delete them all. So what you can do is you can pin them. So if you hit the pin, it pins. So you can go down each one and pin them as you're doing it. And so when you hit clear all, it will clear every one but the ones that are pinned. So in essence, you're saving those. And they will always be available in the clipboard until you unpin them. Something else that's changed is the new Snip and Sketch. Snip and Sketch replaces the Screen Sketch feature that was previously a part of Windows Ink Workspace. I never used it. The Ink Workspace. I think I turned it on with the 1803, and when I did, it showed the Ink's Workspace as an icon on my desktop, and I still never used it. But there's some things that you could do with it. I'm going to show you in the next shot what you can do. And then it's also going to replace the snipping tool, and I'm going to talk about that in a slide or two as well. So if in the Sketch program, in Screen Sketch, what you would do, it would look like this, and now it says skip in Sketch instead of Screen Catch in your Ink Workspace. So it's just a little bit different. It changed out what you're going to use to grab information from the screen. And if you click on the snipping tool, this is what you're going to get now. Select the snip mode using the mode button. So just as you can use it as you've been using it. If you're not using it, you should. But the snipping tool is moving. In a future update, snipping tool will be moving to a new home. You can try the improved features and snip like usual with the Snip and Sketch. So you can start using Snip and Sketch now, or you can stay using the snipping tool until it goes away, and then you have to use Snip and Sketch. When you click on Snip and Sketch, it looks like this. And what you're going to get is at the top, you'll see that there's some things. I'm going to explain them in just a moment. And you capture, mark up, and share any image or any screen. So I have on the screen, I click it, and then you get this little box that comes up on the top. And what that means is the one on the left means, okay, to have a rectangle of what you want, and you can, with your mouse, you can space out what part of the screen you want, and it will be in a rectangle. Or you can do a free form. That's the next one. Or you can do a full screen, or you can say, I don't want to do any of them. And that's the X. So I clicked on the left as I said, okay, I want the rectangle, and I took a part of my desktop, and I highlighted it, and I said, okay, and it saved it as that, is a box. I said then do the same thing, but use the freeform choice. And when I did that, I just squiggled around, and you can see what I did with it. So it gives you a little bit of choice of what you want to capture from a screen, which is kind of neat. So if you only want to get somebody's head, for instance, or a particular person that's in a picture or on a website, a certain part of the website, you can scroll around and just by using your mouse figure out what part of it you want. This is what the menu at the top of the Snip and Sketch looks like. When you click on New, you get that little box that I showed you with the 4 choices. But you can undo, and that's what the one arrow is. The other is redo. And then you'll see the red pen or the black pen. You can change the colors of your pens, and then you got a highlighter and an eraser, and you got a ruler, and you can crop. You can save, and you can do a save as well. So let's look and see what So what I did is I did a snip. You can also do a snip now, snip in 3 seconds, or snip in 10 seconds. And what I did is I used a pen and circled some of the icons, and I put the ruler down at the bottom. There are no numbers on the ruler because it's just giving you an idea, and you can make it larger or smaller. So I'm not sure what it's showing you. You'll have to kind of figure that out, but you can also change the angle. Someone asked, can one add text? I am not sure. You can write the text, but I don't think you can print text. But I'm not sure of that, Mike. And then the app Clipmate is the one that I use, and I prefer its folders and safe for clips. Yeah, Mike, I've been using Clipmate for years, but it's not been updated in 5 or 6 years. And so I don't recommend somebody going out and buying it. But I did buy it many years ago and been using it. Anyway, getting back to this. So there's a lot more things that you can do. If you can't add text, you certainly, as you save it as a JPEG or a PNG, I think it saves it as, you can go back in and edit it with any kind of an editor that allows you to add text to a graphics file. Renaming the tile folders, I really didn't figure out what changed on this. You can name a folder in your start menu. You can create one and then name it, and you can rename ones that are already there. I thought you could already do that, and so it might mean something else, but I haven't figured that out. Not a big deal for me, but it does make your start menu nicer to work with by changing and having the names of folders, creating new folders, and making them what you want. Task Manager. There's a change in Task Manager that's interesting. You've got 2 columns that have been added to the Task Manager. The power usage, this column will provide an instantaneous view of apps and services using power, and then what the trend is. Now, I really couldn't, this is one of the reasons I was hoping to get my Surface, which is a laptop or a notebook, it's tablet, whatever, with a keyboard, to get it updated so I could test this out. But with my desktop, this is what it looks like. But my power, my desktop is not a, is plugged in, and it's plugged into the router as well. So there's no power usage, it's always plugged in. So it just says the power is very, very low, and then the trend is low. If I was plugged into my laptop, it would probably be much more meaningful. Accessibility. There's some accessibility changes here. And one of them is you can make your text bigger. I'm looking at something on my screen, sorry. I'll be back in a second. Okay, I'm back with us. Okay, you can make the text bigger, or you can even make everything bigger. And I think the next slide shows that a little bit larger. So if you want to make everything bigger, it's recommended at 100%, but you can change it to 125, 150, 175. And when you make text bigger, it just makes the text, makes your display a little easier to read. You drag the slider until the sample text is easy to read. You hit apply and it changes the text. But if you want everything bigger, and that means icons and so on, you can do that as well. Here's what it looks like. It's not really accurate because I had to reduce one of the larger one to fit on the screen. So it's not totally accurate, but it gives you the idea that when you make everything bigger, it makes everything bigger. Now the magnifier that's part of Windows, you can turn it on, you can change the zoom level, you can smooth the edges. So there's some things that you can do within the magnifier. But one of the things you can do with the magnifier now is you can keep the mouse cursor within the edges of the screen. You can center it on the screen. So as you move the mouse around, it keeps it, whatever you're doing with the mouse, it's centered on your screen. There are some times if you're doing a demonstration, you may want that to happen. Or if you're working on something, you may need that in order to know exactly what you're following and what's going on, exactly where your cursor is. So if not, you just keep the mouse cursor within the edges of the screen. Data usage. In the network and internet section, the data usage page is getting updated to include data usage stats for mobile data using a SIM card while roaming. So if you're using like I have a Surface and I have the ability to connect to a network and internet with it, either using Wi-Fi or with, I even have the access of doing a cell with it. But you can check your data usage, and you can now show, you can see my data usage for Wi-Fi or all networks was 1 megabyte, but under Ethernet, 43.65 gigabytes. I'm hardwired. On this computer, I'm on Ethernet connection. There's a wire going from the computer to my router, and so it shows that on my using the Ethernet, I've used 43.65 gigabytes of bandwidth of data in the last 30 days. Now, notice where it says show settings for. So I changed it from the Wi-Fi to the Ethernet so you could actually see. You can see using Chrome, I've used 17.12 gigabytes of data. The ID WUTIL _600, that's my iDrive backup that's done every day. And I've backed up in the past 30 days 15 gigabytes of items. My system, I've used 2.363 gigabytes. The Windows Upgrader application, 2.4 gigabytes. OneDrive, 1.9 gigabytes, because I've moved a lot of things over to my OneDrive, or vice versa. iTunes, 1.29 when I updated my my iPad. I do it through my computer, and so on. There's more things. All of the programs and all of their usage are listed if I keep scrolling, if I continue to scroll down. This is a screen capture, so there's not more there. So it's a good utility. You can reset the usage stats and start over again for a new month. And notice that this one is the Ethernet, but if I was on Wi-Fi, I could actually then check to see what my Wi-Fi connection was and how much usage I'm using over Wi-Fi. So if you're limited, you can kind of see what's going on. So this is a nice setting and a nice tool to have if you need that information. Okay, we're getting towards the end of this. Is Windows Security. The Windows Defender Security Center has been changed to Windows Security. Comes with Windows account protection improvements, and now does a better job of identifying the paired device that's being monitored for dynamic lock. This is what the security settings look like. It's now called Windows Security, and you've got the virus and threat protection, account protection, firewall and network protection, and notice I have all of those are checked. App and browser control, device security, device performance and health, and then there's some family options. If you have family members, you can limit some of what they can do and not do through the computer, and so on. And then there's the fire. So each one of those, you can click on those, and there are items to check and to work with. Okay, it's about 2:30. We got about 10, 15 minutes. I'll open up the mic to CFCS, and then also I'll monitor the chat box. And do we have some questions?
Bob Black has one.
Okay, on that keyboard that you can bring up on the screen, on a touch screen,
The virtual keyboard.
Okay.
virtual keyboard, have they added tactile feedback to that?
Somebody will have to repeat that. I can't hear him.
He's asking whether they've added tactile feedback.
Tactile feedback. To the screen, to the keyboard.
I'm not sure what he
Click
means.
or
Yeah, click or some kind
a
of
click or feeling like.
Oh, I don't know that. Let's see if I can bring it up. I think I have to minimize this. And bring up the keyboard. Settings. You can change the way it looks. Let's go to settings and see what we get. Let's full screen that so the other things aren't in the way. Typing, autocorrect on typing, show suggestions. It doesn't appear to be something you can turn on or off. So apparently, I would say no.
There's a sound there. Yeah, it says touch.
It was saying something about sound. I didn't see it. Can
You
you
have to scroll back to what you had.
scroll back, Huey?
Oh, see, I got to reopen that. Let's see, what did I do to get where I was?
Play key
Oh, play
sound.
sounds as I type. Yes, that's an on. Yep. Yes. The answer to that is yes.
Yeah, I like that on a cell phone as well, so that would be useful.
Mhm.
Huey, I have a question on that snip and sketch. It was me that asked about, can you add text? And what I wanted to be able to do is to put some notes on there as to what it was that, why was I capturing that screen? And if I
Okay, well, let's see. There's a snip and sketch. I'm going to say new. And we're going to just grab something here. Okay, and you want to know?
send to Fred, you know, that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Open with about touch writing.
Yeah.
I think that's touch writing, so I'd have to do it on the screen, or you can do it with this and say
Yeah. Okay.
you can do that. I'm doing this with my mouse. My mouse is a thumb mouse, but send. You said Fred.
Yep.
As long as it's a short name, it's easy to do.
Good thing I didn't say Bartholomew.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Any other questions?
Oh, yes.
I apologize if this was covered before I got here. Bit late, but there's been a lot of talk about the Windows 1809 update and how lots of users have had files deleted permanently because
Yeah, that's fixed, and they're now allowing people to download it and reinstall it or install it now.
So if we install it, we're not going to suffer what those poor people did, having huge amounts of data.
Yeah, there's an article on the webpage that explains it, and I did explain it earlier. It had to do with some settings, and those settings, and I thought I added that into the presentation, and I guess I didn't. Let's see if I don't know where they are. I may have to do some searching, and it may be a little too distracting, but let me try something first and see where my screen captures are. And see if I can find something you have to be careful of, and I may not be able to see it here. Yeah, here. In your, when you go to, I'm trying to think what they use it to save space on the computer, and it does an automatic deletion of things, and you bring up a box, and usually all you say is, okay, delete everything. You'll notice that it's now saying downloaded program files, and that's checked. I didn't have anything, 0 bytes because it's on my C drive. It's not the one on my D drive because I've already made that change. But if that's checked, you can delete all of your downloaded files or the downloads, and you might also by mistake do the your documents. So be careful if you're using that feature of Windows, which has been around a long time, to save space for it to automatically get rid of your temporary internet files and the recycle bin and temporary files and thumbnails, and you clicked on that and just said, oh, okay, go ahead and remove them all, you're liable to lose some files. And that's what I suspected was the problem, and in a way it was. But this is something you've got to be really careful about, that's not checked and you got files in there that you don't want deleted. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm seeing anybody else online with any questions? I don't see anything. Anything else in the audience there?
No, not here. Think we're good. Let's take the break. And,
okay, hang on. Let me go back to, I got things in the way here, so I got to move the mouse around. Sorry about that. And then go to the next slide, which is this. And that's the one I'm going to use to end the recording. So hang on till I get that done.